So I've been messing with the Honda and slowly messing with the Jeep. And I've got the old Toyota project in that far barn. Oh, man, we've been just spread thin and kind of juggling cars. And every time I turn around, I gotta fix something. And I haven't gotten to get to the good stuff. It's been a little thin on vehicles around the house here. But we've been making do. You know, we're just borrowing cars in the family and everybody's sharing all the vehicles like crazy stuff. So my sister, I know and I love her and trust her. She's like, hey, you know what? I got something. It's got 4 wheels. If you want it. I had a lot of fun in it for a lot of years. It's taking me places that most people can't go in one of these things. And she's hauled her dogs around in it. She's gone places that I haven't even been to in this thing. So I'm like, yeah, hey. She's like, well, if you want it, you can have it. 4 good tires. It needs a little bit of work. But it's like the dashboard's acting up. Some weird stuff. No big deal. And I'm like, hey, this is awesome. This is awesome. I can't wait to see. Wonder what size tires it's got. How much fender clearance? Is there a lift? Is there lockers? What do I need to do to this thing to make it, worthy? I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm itching with excitement. This is going to be freaking great. So my sister had an 09 Prius, and for various reasons, it ended up just sitting and had a little bit of a random issue with the panel on the dashboard, not always lighting up and some weird stuff. But it was always a good car. And she ended up with some other stuff. She's got a 4Runner now too. She can come play off-road. But her Prius has been sitting for a year. And she decided to give it to me. So now I have a Prius. It's okay. The daughter's gonna drive it. So the poor tow truck driver unhooked everything and tried to, push the push button on that thing, as anybody with a Prius knows. Probably don't have a lot of Prius followers on this channel. If I do, welcome in. Anyway, he got in there and tried to push the button to fire it up and drive it off there because, as it turns out, my brother-in-law and sister jump-started it, drove it around a little bit, and then when the tow truck dude showed up with the flatbed, they just drove the car up on the flatbed. They thought everything was good. So it gets out here, and it won't start again. It won't start, it won't turn on the dash and controls and all that good stuff. Nothing, like a dead battery. I went out and tried to help him. It wouldn't, me pushing the button was no different. So he ended up backing it into the property and unloading it inside the property. Well, he couldn't unload it in the property. So I fired up my dad's Jeep, drove it around, chained it up to the Prius, and very gently slid, tugging the Prius off of the flatbed into the sand with the front wheels locked up. But I didn't have a lot of choice. It was going to come off of there. We were wasting dude's time. I think I found much of the problem. Crap, that's corroded. Well, thank you, Debbie and John, for the Prius. Now I got to test the battery, and the connections are corroded like crazy. All right, multimeter. The good stuff to loosen that clamp because it's rusty as well as corroded. Let's see what kind of see what kind of voltage. Come on. What kind of voltage that battery is getting. Because even though it was running with that connection, I doubt that the battery was charging correctly. 3 1/4 volts. Yeah. That battery was not charging correctly. All right, well, I'll soak that thing, and after a little bit, take it off gingerly so I don't break it. I'll charge the battery and see how she does. Load test it later. So today, after work, one of the first things I did was I pulled the temporary battery out of the Shitbox 2.0 and took it and my good jumper cables and crawled in the back of that microwave oven slash greenhouse of a Prius that sat in the sun all day. Crawled back in there and hooked up the jumpers to the good battery, and lo and behold, man, dash came on, all the controls worked, everything lit up. And I took it for a little drive, and I put about a mile on it, close to a mile on it, with no issues. Now I know that it has had some dashboard, that big wide panel, some issues before, so I'm anticipating that. But that was the only issue she used to have with it. It just wouldn't always light up. It would run, it would go, everything would act normal. I don't know, I got online and I looked a bunch of stuff up, and every problem that car had is indicative, or at least potentially the result of a bad battery, corroded connections, a lot of things like that. So I got a lot of the basics I'm going to do on it. I'm going to go through and check every possible connection I can. Maybe probably order and replace that little factory negative terminal thing on there, because the batteries for these are really, really small posts. They're a specific size. Yeah, I'm going to have to stick with what it calls for, I guess. I don't know. Strap a bunch of batteries to the roof. And a solar panel, generator. How many gigawatts was that? I got to hit 88 miles an hour. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I was hoping or planning initially to clean up that battery and trickle charge it nice and slow, because that's the safe way to go, especially when a battery's been sitting for a while. You're not sure of the condition of the battery. It's been sitting for at least a year, or about a year, I guess. And it was down to 3.27 volts. That was after they charged or jump started it, or both. I'm not exactly sure what they did or how they went about it, but they had the car running, and like I said earlier in the video, when the flatbed showed up, they just drove it up onto the truck. Upon which time, when they shut it off, it didn't, nothing ever turned back on. So, yeah, I was going to clean it up, trickle charge it, and put a load test on it. Hopefully charge it all the way up and put a load test on it and see how good the battery is. I don't need to even do that. That negative terminal is physically coming loose. I can twist it with just the effort of trying to dislodge the little clamp on top. I am physically twisting the post within the battery, so that battery is just toast. So my cursory battery search, I was a little surprised. It's just a little 12-volt battery. But they're coming up at like $229 and $269 and everywhere in between. So that was, again, pretty quick little search. But I'm going to have to look a little deeper, shop around, because I just don't feel like spending that kind of money on a battery. So anyway, that's where I'm at with the Prius. That's the newest addition to the vehicular herd, as it were, here on the compound. Not a super exciting video, but kind of exciting for me, because it's going to be a welcome vehicle and it's going to be a big help. So there you have it. Guess I gotta, I'm going to end up biting a bullet and getting a battery. Ugh. It's only money, right? So I guess that's it for this one. Welcome to your new home Prius. We'll get you sorted out. I'm curious, though. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. I've checked the oil and some fluids in it before for my sister, and added a little oil a time or two. That's about it. I understand how they work, for the most part. But I'm curious who, if any of the few followers I have one. This is a 2009, or maybe you have a different generation or a different hybrid even. I'm just curious your opinions, your pros, your cons. If you happen to have this generation Prius, probably none of you do. But if any of you do, what kind of experience have you had with it? What kind of problems have you had with it? Any recommendations? I'm understanding that on this '09, the dashboard failing randomly, occasionally, is a big issue, a common issue with these. But I haven't researched any of it yet because it wasn't my car until just the other day. And between work and other things, when I get home from work, I haven't had a whole lot of time to get too crazy with it yet. But I'm gonna. So anyway, if you have any suggestions or ideas or good or bad experiences with your Prius, let me know. I can hear some of the humor already. I want to hear some of your experiences with your Prius. If any of you have had one, love them, hate them, whatever. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell. And in the meantime, have a good one, and I'll catch you later. Cheap or free, baby.